Hey, what's up, Couch Potatoes? We are back for our first weekly wrap-up. Now, we asked you guys to bear with us. We're trying to get a recording space all figured out, so this isn't just temporary. We're just kind of working on things, seeing what works and what doesn't. But what this is going to be, guys, is on my main channel, Mike's Book Reviews. I do something weekly update, just kind of talk about everything that I've done during the week. But I do a segment on there called TV and Movie Talk, where it's just kind of like what I've watched this week. But I thought a good idea would be for us to kind of go through kind of the movie news, TV news, gaming news, stuff like that. Just kind of talk about some current stuff instead of stuff we're watching, that's 6 years old. And everybody's like, of course, that's great. I watched it 6 years ago. So, Patience, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am just living the dream. This is it. I mean, talking about movies and TVs and games with my wife, this is pretty much what I do on a daily basis.
Right.
So why not share it with you guys? So we're going to begin today talking about some movie stuff. I guess the first one to bring up is, it looks like Pixar has a hit on their hands. Inside Out 2, it's about to hit 500 million worldwide. I guess my question to you is, they've had several flops over the last few years, and I guess the question is Pixar back?
I don't know if I'd say flops. And I don't know if I'd say Pixar is back. I have an issue with something being a sequel, because you have a built-in audience. Everybody who watched that first movie is coming back for it. Or bringing their kids back for it. So we'll see. And I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So
Neither one of us have seen it
way
yet. So that's one thing.
Say, oh yeah, it's strong, it's solid, and I have my reservations about it. But I am interested.
I think my thing is, and this is maybe a me thing, like Toy Story 4. Like I've been saying that like adults have the hottest takes about Pixar flicks, and it's like they're not made for you, right? But I feel like they are made for all audiences at this point. But Toy Story 4 just really like disappointed me to the point where it was like, you had a perfect ending. Why? I mean, I understand why. I mean, it's all about the mummy, right? I get that. But I'm always like, if you're going to do that, if you're going to pull Samwise Gamgee out of his happy ending, and you're going to keep going with the story, then it better be great. And I didn't feel like Toy Story 4 was. I didn't feel like Incredibles 2 was. And it was like, are they really like flopping? I mean, I'd have to actually dig into the numbers, but I know that like they've been hurting for a little bit here, and that's why all the news stories is Pixar has a hit, and it's the big question is Pixar back? For me, it's like, hey, if you do it once, I feel like it can be blind nut squirrel. Get consistent with it again, and then I'll say, yeah, they're back. Make a new IP and have success with it, and then I'll say, yeah, they're definitely back. But I mean, I feel like cinemas needed this. Cinemas are struggling very, very badly, and that's a topic we're going to touch on here in a minute. But hey, I can't wait to see it. I loved Inside Out 1, and I'm glad that I'm hearing great things about this one, So adding anxiety, as someone that's 45 years old and went through that a few years back when we had the hurricane, adding anxiety is something that does very much happen. So I'm curious. What are you most excited to see in Inside Out 2?
Yeah, it'll be really neat to see how Riley progresses. And one of the kind of, and I know this has been out there on Inside Out 2, is when we saw inside the parent's mind on Inside Out 1, none of these other emotions were present on the dashboard or the control panel.
Okay.
So like kind of where did that come in and where did they go? Or are these emotions you grow through and hopefully out of
learn to control.
So that'll be interesting. I think what was it, Turning Red?
I didn't see it.
I think that kind of did, because I was thinking kind of tackling that adolescence. A lot of Turning Red was adolescence. It had a lot of family heritage stuff in it too. But I think that'll be an interesting topic for Pixar to
Maybe they'll
address.
say, hey, I got on some medication from my doctor and I got rid of my anxiety.
You know what? I would not be surprised if anxiety is like, oh no, not the pills.
Well, staying on the topic of movie flops here, I brought up something this week. I was just saying, how comes everything that critics love and audience seem to reject it's accused of review bombing and stuff like that? But it kind of brought up a greater question. A lot of people saying that a lot of these movies are flopping now at the box office because we're seeing record number flops, more than we ever saw when we were younger. I feel like huge. I mean, just like flop after flop. And a lot of people are saying, like, what is the problem? And something that I've been hearing a lot is it's because of streaming and video on demand. Is that a problem? Now, look, I'll accept that answer before a lot of these other ones, but I started looking at it and looking at how fast some of these movies are going away, and I've got to look at this here. The Fall Guy released on May the 3rd, and it was released on digital May 21st. So, wow, 18 days. Furiosa released May 24th, released on digital June 25th. Both those struggled mightily at the box office. Didn't make like hardly any money. Then you got Dune Part 2, which was successful, at the box office. But even that, released March 1st, and it came out in digital April 16th, so 6 weeks. And I think that, look, at our age, where it's like, okay, you got to get a babysitter, you got to do all that stuff, it's easy for us to say, you know what, I can wait a month and a half and watch this movie at home. So I think there is some of that. But I also think during the virus shall not be named, I feel like a lot of people got trained to, I'm just going to wait and watch it in my house. I've got this really expensive home theater I had installed. Cool, I can do that and not have to worry about kids looking at their phone the whole time and playing with their candy wrappers and I can't hear the movie, right? So I feel like there is some of that. So I feel like that holds more water than, the review bombing excuse or political reasons excuse, something like that. I don't know. What do you think?
Definitely there's a cost. I want to come back to Inside Out. Just one thing.
Sure.
How did Inside Out 2 also not get the Phil Collins song? That is a egregious error.
Well, that's the other question, though. I was like, okay, well, so when we do have a hit at the box office, we don't hear anything about the streaming. I think it really is just like people aren't trusting what's being made right now because there's a lot of bad movies being made.
So, yeah, that's there's not a lot of news stories. There are riffs.
Sequels.
I saw somebody's doing a riff on Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Yeah.
That's what are you touching that for? Stop.
Dude, they did Overboard. I mean, it is. It's always going to be the remakes, the sequels, the reboots.
And then your sequels, and then your reboots. And I know that story. I don't feel like paying the exorbitant movie fees, not to mention getting a babysitter, driving there, or having the out to eat if you're doing the dinner and a show theaters. So it's a very expensive thing and these movies, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead Again, I don't need to see that on big screen. It'll be just as good on my home system.
I think that with the whole streaming thing I do think they should wait a little long. If the movie's having, I don't think they should just make dates for these things.
That's the other thing I was
leave
gonna
it to
ask
be
you.
determined for these streaming dates or these video on demand dates, because if a movie is having a lot of success and if you putting it on streaming at the same time, who's not going to choose to watch it on streaming instead of paying to go see it at the theater? If they already have that streaming service. So I do think it needs to be a little longer.
Baseball practice gets canceled and you're like, we'll keep up the next good movie instead of making it an event. My other thing is marketing. Where am I supposed to be hearing about these movies? Because other than, what was there? There was a rom-com. Anyone But You. That thing got shoveled down my face because I read romance. I'm a rom-com girl.
You got ad
targeted.
Yeah.
That thing got shoveled down my face, and even from the ads, I was like, God, this doesn't look good enough to spend 2 hours on. More or less 2 hours at a movie theater on. But that and IF are the only two movies I've really heard about.
IF?
Imaginary Friend. Yeah, so you haven't even heard about it, right? Now, obviously, I picked up some Dune and some other things, but
yeah,
I'm like, I don't even hear about where are they marketing, because, right, if you're going to get on the streaming platforms, which is where a lot of people are, you're making deals with them.
Well, that's another thing when it comes to marketing is like, if I'm not seeing this marketing on social media, I probably don't see it because I don't watch a lot of live TV anymore.
Exactly.
If it's not NFL season, I don't watch very much live TV, so I'm not seeing ads for anything because I don't watch live TV, and when we do, we TiVo it and skip all those ads, So if I'm not seeing an ad for it on either on YouTube or on Twitter or something like that, I don't know it exists. So yeah, I think that's something that no one has a real answer for. But I do think that streaming dates might be hurting these in the on video on demand, because there are plenty of times that people like us are just saying, I can wait a month and a half and just watch it. Yeah. We can just not have to worry about getting a babysitter and paying for popcorn and all that crap.
There's still those epic movies. Like, you're going to want to see Dune
on the big screen.
On the big screen. You want to see the Marvel movies on the big screen.
Well, I used to.
Well, sure. Sure, but like, my point, and that's kind of my point. Yeah. What movies like that are even coming out to make the effort? Like, most of these movies, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead Again, it's going to be fine on my home system. It's not some epic visual eye candy I need to have a big screen surround sound theater for.
All right, but guys, we are in our 40s. I'll just leave it at that. And so I don't know how much my audience is going to know this one. Donald Sutherland passed away. Obviously, we grew up with him and Kiefer Sutherland. So this is Kiefer Sutherland's dad. Donald Sutherland did pass away this week. I think he was 88. This guy's been acting since like the 50s, man. So he had a hell of a run. He was acting right up there until the end. I think he just did a Stephen King movie like last year, Mr. Harrington's Phone. So, I mean, the guy was acting up until the end. That was kind of all he knew how to do. But it got me to thinking, like, what is your favorite Donald Sutherland movie? And I'm actually interested to hear your answer if it's not Hunger Games.
So he is in two of my top movies, which is Backdraft and Fallen. But I was kind of looking through because, of course, I know who Donald Sutherland and I know his faiths, but I was like, gosh, I really can't think of a movie where he's a leading man that was like, yes, this is my Donald Sutherland movie, other than Hunger Games, and he did an awesome job as President Snow. So that is it. It's going to be the Hunger Games series. He was a great President Snow, but he's iconic, even without me knowing any of his specific movies. Sure. Yeah. I think what was it, Forsaken? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good, but yeah, he's just ever present.
For me, it was always burned in my memory ever since I was young. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is really always what I want to go to. But for me, I'm a huge JFK assassination buff, and he played X in. Did I hit the camera? Keep kicking the camera. Like I said, guys, it's a work in progress. Huge JFK assassination buff, so I love the movie JFK, and he plays X in that, which is just an informant. And you just like read the dialogue that he has to say, and it just sounds kind of ludicrous. But the way that he portrays it in that movie is so good, and he is so iconic as that character. That it was just last year I was watching a new JFK assassination documentary, and he was narrating it, and it was so good. I was just like, yeah, I feel like I'm back on that bench as Kevin Costner, hanging out, talking, or as Jim Garrity listening to X tell him about the JFK assassination. That's what I always fall back to, is he was just so good in that role. But yeah, so many things. I mean, so many things. We watched that Michael Crichton movie. Gosh, what was it? The train, a great train robbery. He was in that. He was really good too. So. It's one of those. He's just one of those actors. Like you go back and you think, oh, I don't know if I can think of like several movies where I'm just like, oh yeah, that's my Donald Sutherland movies. You put it, but instantly recognizable. He's been in a ton of things.
Movies.
Yeah, so many things. So
and because he's really good.
Yeah, and I love Kiefer too. So Kiefer's his tweet the other day like hit me right here a little bit with that dad shit. That's really all I got. I got some TV stuff. Just mentioned Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner will not be returning to Yellowstone. And the thing that sounds weird about it is like you read the interviews and it sounds like he wanted to. So I don't know if there's like some kind of contract. I don't really know the whole drama. I know he was going through a divorce and stuff like that. But every single season on that show, they would always end it with, "Hey, Ray, John Dutton could die. He could die." They always left that trap door there.
I can't believe this is a surprise because it seems like it was always inevitably going to happen.
Yeah, I think he just did a 1-year contract every year. The question everybody's saying is like, should the show continue without him? And what I'll say about that, guys, and I guess Succession, spoiler if you haven't watched it, if you can kill off the lead character on Succession, the show kept going and it was still good right up to the very end, yeah, I think so. For me, I'll be honest, I think I liked 1883 better than I ever liked Yellowstone. I feel like Yellowstone has started to kind of repeat some storylines that, okay, yes, Beth gets angry and yells at people a lot. Okay, yes, she hates her brother. Okay. Oh, John's gonna die again. Okay. Casey's wife is obnoxious. Okay. It got. We didn't even watch the most recent season.
I would say I think we're behind a season, but this is not surprising. Like, I don't think that's your worry that Kevin Costner is leaving is going to take the show down. I feel like it's kind of been on the move down because the storyline's stagnant. Us being a season behind. Do I think it's going to be worse for Kevin Costner leaving?
Well, I still got Rip, so I know you're still interested in one.
I'm in for Rip. It is a true story. I have that in my notes.
I got tired of Beth's shtick in season 3, and it's like her character's not changing like at all, and whatever. So I guess I'm like, okay, it's fine. I go ahead and finish out one more season, but I can't think of the name. Is it Tyler? What's the guy's name?
Sheridan?
Is it Tyler Sheridan? Taylor Sheridan?
Maybe.
That does all these movies.
Because I was thinking, doesn't Kevin Costner do some behind the scenes? I didn't know if he was directing or producing, but I was like, is he just stepping down from the front of the camera?
He's actually making his own Western movie right now, so...
My shocked face.
Yeah, imagine that, Kevin Costner Western, but it's Kevin Costner on a horse, I'll probably watch it.
How could it go wrong?
I don't know. I think he has too many balls in the air right now. He's doing what they're doing, the 16-6, doing the 6-6-6-6, the 4 sixes.
I do think the
1883,
fracturing
1923,
of it was... Ooh, and I got to see the 4 sixes at the rodeo this past year. That was kind of cool.
So I feel like maybe
really rodeoing.
It's getting watered down a little bit. I love the 1883 better than anything because I love that time period. I think that's just such a fascinating time period. That's why I love Lonesome Dove. So I feel like maybe he should focus more on that. But Yellowstone will go on without him. We'll just remain to see if it's going to last without him.
Is it drama? Yes. Is it surprising? Not so much.
What's surprising to me is it's been 1 year this week since Silo Season 1 went off the air. And Silo Season 2, apparently it's in the can. It's ready to go. And the guy that does the show, the showrunner, is saying that they want to record Season 3 and 4 back to back. And that'll be the end. That'll be the end of it. And that sounds cool. Sounds cool. However, we don't know if we've been renewed for season 3 or 4. I think it will because Silo season 1 was a pretty big hit. I'm reading the book right now, and I'm thinking season 2 is going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty good. So my question is, if this is in the can, where is it? Why are we waiting? If it's done, it's ready to go. Why are we waiting?
I don't know. And I think especially these streaming shows waiting year or two between seasons is killing them.
It is. Like, I understood, like, during lockdown, I understood that ruined a lot of production. And then they had the writer's strike. So I understand that there's some schedules got mixed up. But it's just like, if it's ready to go, man. I mean, look, I think Apple TV is great. I haven't watched a series on Apple TV I've disliked yet. I think they do quality over quantity for sure over there. So it's just because I'm anxious for it. I want it. But I'm thinking maybe it's just they don't want the wait between season 2 and 3 to be multiple years. I don't know. We grew up where every year in September your show came back.
And you didn't have to remember for.
You didn't have to watch. You didn't have to watch. A man of recaps on YouTube to remember everything that happened on these shows. So I don't understand why we're 2-3 years between seasons now. It's just, it's why Stranger Things.
I was gonna say,
as much as I love Stranger Things,
with our kids.
This is why these kids, they're supposed to be like 15, look like they're 28. Because of that. It's just, I don't know. I wish they could just get these production schedules just going fast. That's my one complaint about streaming is they don't have to follow the normal rules of sweeps and things like that.
Right.
But I love that because at least I knew when my show was coming back and I knew when it was going off. And I don't feel like you get that anymore. But honestly, it's just because I'm anxious.
And I think that, well, sure. And there's a couple shows where you were like, hey, what's coming up next? And I'm like, I don't know. My shows won't come back. Like, I'm a little put out. But there's also a trade-off where you're not getting the filler episodes or everybody has their requisite musical episode. Like, to just make sure you have a year's worth of episodes for the next season. So there's got to be a balance between so much time has passed that nobody remembers the storyline and we're just churning out episodes because we need another season's worth of episodes. There's got to be some nice middle ground.
I think so. I hope so. I hope they get these schedules back on. It would be nice to, okay, it's a new year. I get a new season of the show that I'm really into. And like I said, instead of having to go to a YouTube channel and watch a recap to remember everything. It's like, I have this problem with fantasy books. Sometimes it's like, it's 3 years. I understand these are big epic books. They take a while.
Yeah.
3 or 4 years reading. It's like, you don't have like a recap or anything for me. And I ain't got time to reread a 900-page book, So, I don't know. Maybe they have a really good previously on at the beginning, maybe. Let's move into gaming here. And Nintendo Direct did have their show. This is kind of the swan song for the Switch, which has had a good run. I mean, I was quite critical of the Switch when it was announced. I thought it was going to be a flop. After the Wii U, I thought it was going to be downhill. But I've always had this theory that every time Nintendo's on the ropes, that they're just going to become a developer and they're not going to make software anymore. And it was their handheld systems that kept them going forever. But the Switch made the Game Boy finally obsolete. You don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
But the Switch has had a good run. I think about the other day. I was like, God, it's been like a good 7-8 years now for the Switch, hasn't it? So it's a great run. I mean, it's console generation. It is. Before we get into this, guys, I want to let you guys know we do not discriminate. We do not fanboy. We're not loyalists. If you have a good game, we want to play it. We don't care about Nintendo, Sony.
Yeah.
We don't do that here. So if you don't like Nintendo or you're wearing your PlayStation shirt right now, or we have Game Pass, we have a PS5, a kid has a Switch, which we steal from him frequently. We like games, so we don't take part in any of that console war stuff. It's childish. Nintendo Direct 2024 though, are there any games that you think that you're particularly interested in, or anything that really just like that's a letdown?
Overall, no. I'm not interested in anything. Kind of the Mario Luigi, what is it, Brotherhood one was very cute.
Yeah, it looked like Mario Paint meets Mario RPG.
Which could be good. And I felt elements of Paper Mario in there too, but the graphics were...
Did I say Mario Paint?
You said Mario Paint.
Paper Mario.
Which I didn't see so much Mario Paint.
Yeah,
Mario.
no Mario Paint.
The graphics were a huge letdown. The storyline looks not like a storyline, like, Mario and Luigi save the princess, or you're not playing a Mario game for this deep storyline, but like I felt Mario's Odyssey, like we're kind of going somewhere new and different and doing different things, where I feel like this Mario and Luigi game, not so much.
No, I like Super Mario Wonder a lot. We played the heck out of that this past year.
Yeah, really the Wonder was fun too.
So it's not like we play that because the storyline's amazing. It's just it's Mario. You really have me there, but I don't know. For me,
I'm not big on turn-based, and it looked like turn-based, and it if you're telling me this is the new and latest and your graphics look like...
That's the thing
it's
about
a hard
Nintendo
sell
is
for
like
me.
their graphics aren't that much improved from like the GameCube, really. I mean, that's always just been something they don't really advance their graphical capabilities. Their games are just always fun, and they're consistently fun. Their first party games are just like untouchable.
Yeah.
They're always great. Zelda's
It's
always
enjoyable.
great. Mario's always great. Donkey
Yeah.
Kong's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's they always have those that keep them afloat, I think. But I don't know. I listen to I look at how many of the Switch games my oldest kid has, and I say, yeah, that's a successful run on your console for sure. But as for like what I'm excited for, just Metroid Prime 4. I'm a huge Metroid fan. I don't feel like they make nearly as many Metroid games as they should. Because honestly, they don't sell that well. That's what people don't really understand about why they make more Metroid games. They don't, because when they do, you guys don't buy them. You know, they're always well received, but it's a very niche audience, and they've been working on Metroid Prime 4 for like 8 years now. So I started to think they were just going to say it's going to be on the next Nintendo system, but they finally did announce it in the show, and now I'm hoping that they do a re-release of Metroid Prime 2 and 3 on the Switch, like they did the remaster of Part 1 that me and my oldest played through this year, because that was his first real experience with Metroid, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm hoping, even if it's just a straight port, because I never even played Metroid Prime 3, because it was on the Wii, and I hate motion controls. It's like, motion controls are cool, don't make me do them. Make it be optional. I didn't play Skyward Sword really that much until it came on the Switch this past 2 years ago, I think, or something like that. But
so I think this suffers from the other thing. Almost all of these are reboots,
Remakes,
sequels, or kind of. And I'm like, where's your new and innovative, different game? I don't see that.
No, a lot of people rail on this on movies. I've been railing on this whole console generation. Why is everything a remaster? And I'm still paying full price for a game I've already paid.
For the Donkey Kong came out. Remember, oh, God, that Donkey Kong game busted our butt. But they're just re-releasing.
It's just a straight port, yeah.
It doesn't even look any better. Why are you trying to make me excited about this?
Nintendo loves to get you to pay for the same game twice. They do. But I think it's a problem with like a lot of, I mean, everything you look at, it's collection. Like I heard they're doing Prince of Persia remastered again. This is the third time, I think.
I do love me some Prince of Persia.
Sure, but it's like,
but
how
I
about
wouldn't pay for it again.
Make a new Prince of Persia, maybe, that will like, I don't know. It's just it's wild, yeah. So I mean, I think you're gonna have this complaint in a lot of things, but yeah, I've been complaining about it way more in gaming than I have with movies and TV so far. But Nintendo, cool, great swan song, I guess. I'm not super excited about any of these, but I think I feel like with the Switch is games that seem to come out of nowhere have been the ones that I really like. Besides like the Zelda, obviously, which is like a holiday in our house when a new Zelda game comes out. But yeah, I mean, you want to play the Zelda game where you play as Zelda? So is it going to be called The Legend of Link, since you're playing as Zelda now?
I don't think so.
No.
But
Okay.
you know, I was kind of mildly interested, and again, I saw those graphics,
It's quiet.
GameCube graphics.
They did that Link's Awakening
that on
like
my
that,
phone.
which was cool. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't think that
But Link's Awakening was a
Nintendo's
older
never.
game, yeah?
They're never gonna up to the photorealistic graphics. It's just not their.
But look at how
priority.
Breath of the Wild was. It went from looking like, a little cartoon avatar to
Pretty
a
cool.
3D rendered person.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't look realistic, and I don't need that.
That's
but
why I say I'm tired. Like when we're playing Game Pass, I'm like, dude, those pixel games were fun novelty when they were. Now that's like it's dominated by like tablet games on Game Pass. I'm like, why are there so many games that are releasing? Because they're independent. I know that they're easy to develop, but it's just like all these games are just looking like Super Nintendo games now. I'm like, why are we going backwards? Why don't we go forwards? So yeah.
And I'm not saying they can't be fun, or that's a hard line if your graphics aren't up to par, but it's oversaturated and it's underwhelming.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty much like the current week of news. But how about some stuff that you're watching, some stuff you're playing, something maybe that isn't current that you're into right now or planning to do? She's a teacher and she's off for the summer, so I'll be curious to hear what you got planned. You got anything that you've been looking forward to doing that you're gonna kind of bust into while I'm at work and the kids are leaving you alone? Or?
I'll say, because I had a writing institute all last week, so I didn't get to do any summer fun. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
Do you have like a game
this
you're going
week.
to play or a show you're going to watch or anything like that?
I'm going to finish Abbott Elementary, so the most recent season of Abbott Elementary. Kind of.
So when you watch that, do you feel like I do watching Office Space? Like, yes, I hate that shit.
Yeah, so this is the first TV show that's kind of set around teaching that actually feels like real teaching and not like, wow, when do these teachers ever teach or be at the school, because they're doing all this weird drama that I have never seen done on a campus.
Right.
So I enjoy
It's
it a
like
lot.
Grey's
The humor's
Anatomy.
a
You
lot.
guys ever work on the patients?
Yeah, which I've actually never watched Grey's Anatomy, but sure. But yeah, no, well, and so this is where we run into the gaps in seasons because, like, I was really loving Shrinking on Apple TV, which we don't watch together,
Is
so
that,
I could.
is that the Harrison Ford one?
Yes, and what Jason
Marshall from How I Met Your Mother.
I was saying Jason
It's just Marshall.
Siegel. Anyway, yeah, it was brilliant. I was enjoying it, and I feel like I enjoyed it a long time ago. I need the next dose. Same thing with Only Murderers in the Building. I'm ready for the next dose of Only Murders in the Building.
This is all the stuff she watches by herself.
Yeah, and so that's how I know I can just binge gluttony on it while he's gone at work, and nobody will be mad. And where is it? I feel like I've waited since last summer. You should be ready because I'm ready. And then
Can you knock that shit off?
yeah, please stop, Brendan.
Wow.
Wow, yeah, wow.
Don't have kids.
He clearly needs some attention. I'm gonna finish playing Little Kitty in the Big City.
Okay.
And I was kind of looking at some different games that are on the Game Pass. A little to the left looks like my kind of puzzle jam, which is also funny because that's a inside joke between a girlfriend and I, so it definitely caught my attention. And then if my oldest will play with me, I'll maybe play some more Sackboy.
Oh, Little Big Planet. Sackboy, yeah.
Sackboy. I think you can't say Little Big Planet anymore. I think there's drama there. It's just Sackboy, which is a horrendous name.
I'm forever 12. I can't say Sackboy without laughing. So
exactly why it's a horrendous name.
Yeah, we're playing the old Tomb Raider game together, which I talked about in our We're Back episode. We're probably just played those together. I think I started playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which, I mean, I love Norse history and stuff, so that's our Viking history. So I'm all into that a little bit. But for me, it's just, I always hate feeling like I'm dominating the TV, so I don't try not to play those open world games very much. But I finished The Leftovers recently on HBO, so I'm actually looking for like a solo show to watch on my own right now. I was thinking about Peaky Blinders because people won't leave me alone about it, because I just read that War for the Rose Throne book, that whole series, and a lot of people just kept saying it was so much like Peaky Blinders. I'm like, oh, I don't watch Peaky Blinders, so I wouldn't know. So that might be it. I love Cillian Murphy, so I think that might be. Partly that's one of those you got to watch with captions on because you can't understand anything they're saying. So okay, but I mean, outside that, I'm just kind of looking for a new show. With me, it's just several shows I want to come back. I already mentioned Silo from a show that's on MGM Plus, which people probably never heard of because it's on MGM Plus, but it's so good. Fans of Lost would absolutely love this show. It's really, really good. But I don't know. I don't have really any crazy plans. I'm just kind of in a transition phase right now because Leftovers was really good, and it kind of took my breath away a little bit the way that it ended. And now I'm just like, okay, well, whatever I watch next might feel like a disappointment, so I got to be careful what I choose next. But yeah, like I said, it's mostly me just waiting for things I love to come back. And House of the Dragon's back, and that's obviously like my big one right now.
And then I would say our shows I'm kind of looking forward to. We're about to finish up Dark Matter, so hopefully from there, I know we both want to watch Three Body Problem. I would love to get some more Ted Lasso in. It's my feel-good show, but we're watching it together, so
and
I'm like...
Sopranos.
And then come back on Sopranos, too.
We're on
we kind of took a hiatus.
5. We're on season 5. We're doing a Stranger Things rewatch with my oldest. It's his first watch. It's a rewatch for us. And yeah, well, you know, the show's still really good. It's really good on the rewatch.
The rewatch is very enjoyable.
Yeah, and again, gonna have to wait again. Here, we've been waiting for a couple of years now. We're about to have to wait all over again. But hey, that's what life is about. It's about waiting, right? So this first episode, like I said, was just kind of a trial run. We'll see how things evolve from here. But we're working on things, and we're gonna get this settled out so it doesn't just feel like a spinoff of my book review channel. I want this channel to feel a little different. Obviously it's a duo right now, and that's awesome. It's so fun. I came up in podcasting, guys. It's really nice to talk to someone, have someone talk back. I can ramble with the best of them because I'm doing it right now. But it's much more fun when you have someone to talk back. And we hope you'll talk back to us in the comments. So drop in the comments, guys. Let us know what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're playing, all that fun stuff.
Love some suggestions since I'm between seasons. Yeah, we need.
I told her when you do this
suggestions.
YouTubing thing, you're gonna get a lot of suggestions, and you're gonna be like, I've got too much to do now. But I usually say, what do you watch? What are you reading? What do you listen to? What are you playing? But I gotta get used to not saying that because if you're reading something, then what you do. check out the main channel if you haven't. I would imagine you didn't find this channel without finding the main channel, but I don't know.
I think so too.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And stay tuned for our House of the Dragon recaps. We're going to be not really recaps. It's just really kind of like reaction, spoiler discussion kind of things. We'll be doing those probably about 2 days after each new episode premieres. Give everybody enough time to watch it because those are spoiler discussions. But we aren't talking about anything that hasn't happened on the show yet. So don't worry if you've not read the book.
I can't spoil.
That's what makes it great. So you can check out that first one and everything we've talked about previously. And we're going to try to continue more consistent with this going forward. So thank you for hanging. Anything before we go?
No. Thank you. So nice to see and talk to everybody.
Y'all have a good one.